keeps you laughing with all the jokes.
It's JV.
Who keeps it real around all your folks.
It's JV.
You've been looking and what do you know? Congrats, you tapped into the Je Vaughn Show. Who keeps you laughing with all the jokes?
It's JV.
Who keeps it real around all your folks?
It's JV.
No matter the outlook, will give you some hope. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Je Vaughn Show.
Greetings and salutations. It's your boy, Je Vaughn, and we've got a special edition. It's one of those very special editions of the Je Vaughn Show. I am going to first, though, fix this height thing because this is driving me crazy. I'm going to ask my assistant, can you grab me Paris in New York? Along with, do we have anything else besides Paris in New York? You know what? Yes, bring me the toaster oven because that's kind of not. Yeah, give me the toaster oven. And there's more. There's more. Oh, I mean, if there's one more. Ooh, that's so much better. Yes, I like that. And then, huh? Oh, that's okay. I don't want that. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're live, and the power of editing means that I can cut all of this out and then say, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Je Vaughn Show. I am Je Vaughn, and we've got a very special edition of the Je Vaughn Show where we're going to learn some math. All of this talk about where to do the parentheses and the equations in the order and the left to right, the right to left, multiplication before division and subtraction before. Listen, I'm simple. I'm a simple man. I learned 1 + 1 is 2. But we're going to bring in someone who's going to teach us a little deeper level of how to do this math. Ladies and gentlemen, my special guest today, Miss Michelle Walter. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm blessed. No complaints. And yourself?
Myself is not too bad now. We'll get it out the way now. Me and Michelle have a little history. We both graduated from that fine institution we call Illinois State University. Go Redbirds.
Yes.
I mean, was it a Go Redbirds? Did you enjoy your stint?
It was a time. I learned a lot about myself.
And I'm still learning myself. So tell me a little bit about, before we dive into it, before people be like, oh, she don't know what she's talking about, and oh, that was the way they used to do it. Give them a little bit of history about Michelle and her educational background and her knowledge.
Okay, well, prior to even serving in education in a career, I went to magnet school on Scholastic Academy. I participated in the IB program at Morgan Park. I then went on to the illustrious Illinois State University. And I worked in Noble. I served as a math educator, math department lead, taught financial mathematics. I then moved forward to the curriculum team. I was one of the Algebra 1 curriculum authors for 17 schools within Noble's network. I led the financial literacy curriculum team, and I now serve in the capacity of director of school partnerships in Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin, targeting teacher retention and trying to be a solution to the teacher shortage. So that's me.
It sounds like you got a little knowledge, like you got a little back to your bone when it comes to math.
Definitely. I think getting a 4 on the AP Calc test speaks volumes. I can do integrals, so order of operations isn't really a conversation.
So I put out that post where I was asking for people to help me out because I was getting 5 and then I was getting 125, and people were telling me that my 5 was wrong and my 125 was wrong. So I'm not even doing that one. I'm not trying to steal nobody's thunder. I got a whole different math equation, and I want you to let me know if what's on the paper is right. All right. So I'm about to put it up on the screen. It says 100 divided by 4, parentheses 2 plus 3 equals. Okay, maybe this is the same one. So there's some people getting 5. There's some people getting 125. What they have on here is the PEMDAS. First of all, let's go break it down. What is PEMDAS? Up, she has to yell at a kid. Go yell at them. Tell them to go take their cookie and go sit down. I know I've been a parent for too long to know what that mute meant. that mute and that look together.
Definitely was that go sit down. So order of operations has this acronym, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally that some teachers orient to acronyms to try to help students understand concepts, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally was what I was taught in school, and what some teachers that are old school may still use today. But it naturally creates the misconception that there's a hierarchy of 6 when there's only a hierarchy of 4. So
What does that mean? Come on, give me first grade as if I just started at Gompers Middle School in 3rd grade. What did what you just say mean?
So the difference. So a lot of people say, "Oh, there's new math." No, what's different today is we actually teach.
Your connection is going weak again. So let me wait until you come back because you're about to give us some good knowledge. Y'all, did you see that she like got them eyes together? She got them lips together and she was like, let me break this down the way that I know it. And it was about to be fire. It's about to be fire. And then her connection caught her to us. It's like they don't even want us to learn math. That's what it feels like. It feels like they don't even want us to learn math. So we're gonna bring her down, and then we're gonna bring her back up when she gets reestablished. But how y'all doing? This is the chat. So if you want, you can leave a comment, and if I can bring it on the screen, I will. But we're gonna learn this math together because we want to know how to do this math problem. It's a real simple math problem, though it seems. And I want to make sure that y'all are doing this math problem right. So let me bring it up on the screen again. I'm going to find a different way to bring it on the screen. And first of all, can I tell y'all how much I love the power of editing? Editing is such a beautiful thing. Being able to edit a podcast is it's so fantastic and phenomenal and brilliant and freeing. So I'm going to bring it up on the screen again while we wait for our guests to come back. And I want to make sure that you guys know what it is that we are doing today. So this is the math problem that we are trying to figure out. 100 divided by 4 parentheses 2 plus 3. Now, when our guest comes back, she's going to share with us the proper way to do this equation. And if it's my connection that's weak and the reason for all of the turmoil, then I'm going to be so salty because I think that I have a really good internet. It's supposed to be like fire, like world class. Like no one's ever done internet like my internet's done internet. So while we wait for her to come back, that is the equation. That is what we are trying to solve. Is this equation right here. And hopefully we'll be able to get her back on the line. And there she is. She is getting reestablished. She is back. She is ready. She is on. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I'm sorry, y'all. I just moved to the woods of Will County. It's different out here. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
It's okay. So I just wanted to make sure because it stuck right at the wrong point. But I want to make sure. So you were telling us the difference between the power of 6 and the power of 4.
So please, dear Aunt Sally has 6 letters, right? So there's automatically a misconception that there are 6 different levels to order operations. But that's false. Even in the picture depiction, you see M and D are in parentheses together because they have the same hierarchy. You do them left to right. Neither one of them is more powerful than the other in a problem. Then you have addition and subtraction. You do those. The problem is when people say new math, we just teach concepts where people actually understand versus remembering a procedure, which leads to misconceptions. So an example of this prior to us getting to this problem, if I gave you a problem with a radical, when would you do that with, please excuse my Aunt Sally? Well, you might not know when to do that. Why? If you don't know that square root, radical, or square root, any number to the half power,
So I had to check to make sure that I wasn't freezing, but apparently our guest is frozen again. So I apologize. We're gonna, and again, she said that she's in the woods. So we're gonna let her again get reestablished because she's talking good stuff, and I am eating good stuff. Good stuff. I'm doing ASMR, AMSR, whatever it's called. I wonder if I can make a lot of money doing AMSR. But she was giving us some really great knowledge before her connection got lost again. And I'm going to try to bring her in again because, like I said, she's giving us good stuff. And them woods are no joke. What are you going to do? You're in the woods. What can you do? But we've got her back again. It does look like she's even up, maybe frozen even there. She's getting it established though. So once I can see her a little bit more, because it looks like it's still freezing, still freezing, still freezing. But she is getting it together. So let's see. All right, we're gonna try it on the hotspot.
Yes, I changed to my hotspot. Hopefully that's better. I literally have had Google Meets, Zooms, and have not had an issue. I don't know if it's because it's Saturday or why is Xfinity against me.
Because the devil doesn't want us to learn math. That's all it could be. That's all it could be. Because then we might be even more powerful than we already are. So, without further ado, give it to me again one more time. I'm sorry, from the order of operation, just one more time from the PM, PEM, DAS, if you don't mind. Let's get a really good so people can know what's going on. Hey, what's your kid's name?
Connor.
Hey, Connor. Welcome to the show. I'm Je Vaughn. So I'm going to throw it over to you one more time, if you don't mind. Let's take it from the power of 6 versus the power of 4.
So what I was explaining is, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally has 6 letters, right? So it naturally creates this misconception that there are 6 levels of hierarchy. But as Mrs. Orisha placed M and D in parentheses and addition and subtraction in parentheses, there's only 4 levels. You have grouping symbols, which includes parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction. If you do not have conceptual knowledge, acronyms do not help you. So, for example, if I gave you a problem with a radical or square root, which is what most of us know that by, when do you do that? Most people would not naturally know. Most people would not know when to do a radical if they don't have the conceptual knowledge that square root is to the half power. That's an exponent. So acronyms mean nothing if you don't have conceptual knowledge, which is why there's a strong argument for 5, because they don't conceptualize that multiplication and division are at the same hierarchy. Neither one overpowers the other, so they have to be done left to right. Or they have the misconception that once that 5, there's no operation in those parentheses, that is indeed multiplication and has no hierarchy over the division. So those 2 misconceptions can skew the answer that you get if you don't have conceptual knowledge and you simply only remember being taught an acronym a decade plus ago.
Wow. That's good stuff.
I think that is the root of the Facebook rivalry, right? And then there's this, so with like foil, that's another one which I loathe, right? Because foil only helps you if you're multiplying 2 binomials. So if you have just one operation in a set of parentheses and another, if I give you a trinomial and a binomial together, you have 3 terms times 2 terms, you don't know what to do. Because the only thing you know is FOIL. You actually don't understand the distributive property fully to be able to execute that problem or have new math methods like the area model to be able to execute that problem because you don't have conceptual knowledge. You have an acronym, and that's all you know. So that's really the vision that we're seeing on Facebook with this. Oh, I have 5 because I have misconceptions. Like nobody taught you differently. You have misconceptions because you simply only remember the acronym.
So when we're looking at this, 100 divided by 4, and then the parentheses 2 plus 3 equals, we are doing, because, okay, so if I'm hearing you right, we are doing the 2 plus 3 first.
Absolutely. They're in grouping symbols. There's an operation in grouping symbols. I have to execute that first. That has first priority.
So when it's PM, PEM, DAS, the M and the D parentheses, the A and the S parentheses, we do the multiplication that's in parentheses or the addition, subtraction, or the division. Whatever's in parentheses, we do our divisions first. I mean, we do our parentheses first.
You do whatever is in grouping symbols first. So, for example, when I taught order of operations, I teach gems. Because, again, if I give you brackets, you don't know what to do because you only know please excuse my dear and Sally. And if you don't have conceptual knowledge that brackets have the same hierarchy as parentheses, you don't know what to do. So, even with gems, where there's only 4 letters and you see that there's only 4 levels. But with this PEMDAS, we know that's what everybody knows. I have an operation, 2 plus 3 in parentheses. It has to go first. Once I've done that operation, though, there's no more priority inside my parentheses. Once there's only a 5 in those parentheses, Miss Orisha rewrote it, which most people naturally will not. They will just leave the 5 within the parentheses. That's just multiplication now. That doesn't, which is what she's trying to articulate, that 4 parentheses 5 is the same thing as 4 times 5. That's just multiplication, which has no hierarchy over the division that occurs first in this problem.
So you have to do the division first. The 100 divided by that 4 goes first.
Yes, because it's left or right.
Because we've solved the 2 plus 3, so there is no longer parentheses. We've solved that. So now we're going left to right. We've got that 4, but we've got that 100. So we have to do that 100 divided by that 4. So then once we get that 25, we multiply that by the 5 that's left over, and that's why we got that 125.
And let me also speak to my calculator warriors. A tool is only as useful as its user, right? So if you don't know that when a calculator is in standard versus in scientific, or for trigonometry, if it's in radians versus degrees, it follows different rules. It depicts different answers. That's just like when some people like AI is cheating versus AI is a tool. Well, when you have the user knowledge to use AI as a tool, it is a tool. But when you don't have the user knowledge and you think AI can type your whole paper, it's ineffective, which is the same thing as a calculator. If you take any Texas instrument straight out the box, it's already in scientific method. It's good to go. It's going to give you 125, right? But then we have some RCs that have Casios that have standard settings. They have, that will articulate a different answer when it's not following certain rules, which the only answer is 125. But when you're in standard versions, there's different mathematical rules and reasons why it will miscalculate this problem. So I know we have our calculator warriors that have screenshots. Again, tools are only as useful as their use.
So let me ask you another question that goes away from this one. I saw this problem and it threw my mind. So a young lady said she had the number 27. And it's put the tens, what are the tens and what are the ones? And the person put 2 for the tens and 7 for the ones. And she marked it wrong and said that there aren't 7 ones. There's 27 ones? And so when did tens and ones change?
So again, conceptually understanding the answer. So anytime you're asked to break down in place value, so if the question were just breaking down the number 27, you could say there's 2 10s and 7 1s. But again, understanding how math is articulated and taught, it's understanding the way you can break down the number 27. The number 27 can be broken down into 2 10s and 7 1s, or the number 27 can be broken down into 27 1s. If I have manipulatives, let's say I'm teaching this in 2nd grade, I can take 27 little square pieces, my ones unit, and have 27. I can also take 2 10 blocks and 7 individual ones pieces and have 27. So the way that question was articulated, she marked that 7 1s wrong, because I'm assuming in the way they're instructing, they were asking what represented, how would you represent 27 in ones? And that would be 27 ones.
What year did math change?
So this is my pushback. Math never changed. We began to teach concepts more fluidly. So think about how you learned how to multiply. I don't know if you learned how I learned, but we were doing drills, like how many you could answer. Like it was all about memorization. So the problem is, if I'm just memorizing, right? I give you 12 times, you know, all your multiplication facts up to 12 times 12. If I give you 12 times 13, if you don't understand that multiplication is repeated addition, and that you only have to add another 12 to 144 to know 12 times 13, you're stuck. But when I teach you concepts and you understand that multiplication is repeated addition, I can increase your knowledge and give you a problem that you may not have memorized. And you can understand how to solve it because you understand the concept of multiplication. That's the difference. The difference is there's an emphasis on conceptual knowledge versus an emphasis on procedural knowledge. But math inherently has not changed.
Is math, learning these concepts, learning math, do you feel that it's going to be still necessary in like 10 years from now? Because, you know, these calculators are getting better and better. AI, better and better.
I always think that problem solving is essential, and it's the way in which we teach, right? So part of how I was even transitioned from the Algebra 1 curriculum team to the financial literacy team was how I taught Algebra 1, right? Like, so you could argue that I'm not doing functions in my everyday life. I'm not doing these things. But when I set the precedent and the contents of planning a party, or, you know, like something that like everybody does, like some people like, oh, well, you could do taxes. Like I literally taught financial mathematics versus financial literacy, where I put the math at the forefront in concepts where even my seniors in that class were like, this is literally in every way of life. Like, yes, do you necessarily have to place it on a graph? Maybe not, right? But the conceptual knowledge of how a budget works, like ins and outs, debits and credits, like those things live. And again, AI is only as smart as its user. So you can't have AI build a budget for you if you don't understand how your numbers and your ins and outs play into that to be able to formulate. It can slow down, you know, the time or make the time faster if you actually understand what's in front of you. But again, those tools are only as useful as their user. So I do believe that there's always going to be the precedence for majority of the math we learn K through 10, right? Of course, I took AP Calculus, and you know,
of course she did.
Calculus 2 and things that, you know, I'm not solving integrals and doing derivatives in my everyday life, but I am logistical, I am strategic. You know, like you have those underlying skills, and I also serve in a capacity where that knowledge is important, right? So again, that advanced math plays into whether or not what your next path is. But everything you're learning up and through algebra 1 and most of those geometrical concepts, like you're using those. Are you necessarily doing perimeter per se? But we're all buying homes. We're all, want to invest. Like that's a new thing, investing in real estate, realizing that price per square foot might not be worth it, even though it seems like a deal. Oh, I don't have to put work into it, but you don't know that if you don't have that concept. I used to make these videos actually in normal where I would go through the grocery store and I would show value signs, like it'll say value, but then I'll show like per unit, like this isn't a value. You could buy 3 of the 12-ounce bottles for $1 each versus paying $3.44 for a 36-ounce bottle. But you don't know that if you can't quickly do the math, or if you got to pull out the calculator, you don't even know, child, what to put in there because you don't have those concepts.
But they'll put it on the barcodes and stuff like that now. Like when you're looking at, and it has the price, and it'll say price per ounce or price per unit. I look at that now because of your video, where I was like, wait a minute, all because that this great value size is $3.69 and this regular size is $4.68, whatever it is. It may be that $4 is a better value per unit than that $3 one, and it's just worth it to go ahead and do it. So yeah, that is extremely important to keep in mind.
Yeah. So with that said, like financial literacy is now a requirement in Illinois, so bridging that gap where you understand the math and then you also understand how it plays into everyday life. You also have teachers who already migrate into the classrooms. So it's becoming more and more relevant. Is finding the answer as important? No, that's why how we teach it have changed. But those concepts are important. And that's why it's more important now, instead of students just memorizing procedures that a calculator maybe can do for them, that they understand the concepts. So I do believe we're moving in the right direction in how we're instructing math so that it's beneficial long-term for lifelong learners.
Wow, this has been fantastic. Listen, I have a much better understanding. I am now planning to send all of my financials to you to get them in order. Because clearly I've been coming up with 5 when I should be coming up with 125 in all aspects of my life. So, Michelle, how can they find you on social media in case they want to reach out and say hello?
Even though I'm trying to come out of the ice age with social media, like slowly but surely. My Instagram is my first name. It's Michelle Angela. So just take the Michelle at Angela. I'm Michelle Walter on Facebook. I'm working on being more present because that's just the time we live in. I'm still somewhere in the 90s with my Nextel chirp.
Your MySpace page, I get it.
But that definitely, is the way to reach me. LinkedIn actually is your best bet because of the work that I do. I am fully immersed in LinkedIn. Like that is the way. Obviously my name, Michelle Walter, is my name on LinkedIn, but that is the number one way because I'm constantly there, again, trying to attack the teacher shortage and make sure our students are even getting instruction, right? Across the Midwest. So that definitely is the best way. If you actually want to touch base with me in a timely fashion, LinkedIn is always going to be your best bet.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Walters, she just taught us math, and she did it in a way that even I could understand. So we now know if the answer is 125, don't argue about it. Don't question it no more. It is what it is. And if they want to argue with you, tell them to go argue with their mama. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Michelle Walter. I'm Je Vaughn Show. Thank y'all for tuning in. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.